Yep, we're still talking about collagen. Hey everyone, I'm Abbey Sharp. Welcome to Abbey's Kitchen. Today's video is sponsored by Built Bar, and we'll be revisiting dermatologist Dr. Dray and discussing some of her advice on the worst foods for collagen production. But first, let me tell you about my sponsor, Built Bar. So whenever I'm in like a meal or a snack rut, one of my go-tos for just like my little protein fix is definitely one of these bars. Honestly, there are so many really delicious flavors and the texture is really unlike any other protein bar. They actually taste more like a chocolate bar. The flavor of the day, ooh, fresh box. I'm going for my favorite, cookies and cream. If you know that these ones are totally amazing. So much chocolate. Like, I gotta make sure I don't have it all over my face. Oh, she's good. So these are a lower sugar bar, so I usually like to pair them with a source of carbs and fat for my hunger crushing combo. So for example, like a piece of fruit with some almond butter is a really great option. But if you want to give them a try yourself, check out my link in the description and use my promo code ABBY15 to get 15% off of your order. Now, before we get into it, feel free to pause the screen or look at the description to check out my disclaimer, including a trigger warning to those with current or previous experiences with disordered eating. As always, please skip this video if it's not supportive to your journey. And if you are new here, welcome. Please subscribe to the channel and ring that bell so that you never miss out on an episode. Okay, so for starters, Dr. Dray is really no stranger to the channel, as we've previously discussed her low-fat, high-volume vegan diet in my video right here. But today we're going to be focusing on her skin health diet advice, specifically as it relates to wellness culture's current sweetheart, collagen. Now, first of all, I do have a whole blog post on collagen for skin health, which I'm going to link below. But to refresh, collagen is a protein that provides structure and support for our bones, skin, muscles, and hair. And of course, our levels do decline as we age, resulting in visible signs of aging like wrinkles. Now, I want to preface this video by saying I'm not a dermatologist, and I wholeheartedly respect the expertise of clinicians like Dr. Dray. But this is definitely an area where our skills and our expertise do overlap, so I do think it's nice to hear another perspective. So let's dive in.
There are two ways our diet impacts glycation of collagen. First of all, increases in blood sugar, and you can actually be ingesting advanced glycation end products that do in fact localize to the skin and further contribute to this cross-linking of collagen and skin aging.
Research does suggest that advanced glycation end products, otherwise known as AGEs, can cause oxidative stress and inflammation in the body. AGEs are either naturally present in foods or they're formed when foods that are rich in protein and fat are cooked at a very high temperature. So, for example, like grilling a T-bone steak.
I'm going to consume all of this at the same time because I am a free American.
Now, it's important to note that one piece of meat isn't going to overload your body with AGEs and age you 20 years. Rather, toxins like AGEs tend to accumulate over time and will also depend on the rest of your diet and other lifestyle habits. So for example, we know that antioxidant-rich foods have been shown to help mitigate the effects of AGEs on the body, which means that diets that are rich in things like fruits and vegetables will often be lower in AGEs.
Before I get into the list of foods that are more problematic for the health of the collagen in your skin, I want to emphasize that I am not telling you guys that these foods are off limits and that you should completely cut them out of your diet.
I really appreciate this disclosure, as I have to admit I'm a bit weary of any kind of like bad food lists, especially after kind of the food demonizing and fear mongering that I heard in the video that I reviewed on her a while back. Now, I also want to flag that while I obviously I'm a dietitian because I love helping people improve their lives through food. For most people, cutting out a few random foods isn't going to have a significant impact on something like your skin if you're still engaging in other skin harming activities like smoking, drinking in excess, sun exposure, excess stress, etc. And actually, Dr. Dray does say this herself in another one of her videos right here. But anyways, let's get to her list.
Number 1, donuts. Donuts can be problematic for the health of the collagen in your skin as well as throughout the rest of your body because they're very, very high in sugar. And so when you eat donuts, your blood sugar can spike quite a bit.
Okay, so in this clip, Dr. Dray is suggesting that the reason donuts are on the no-no list are because A, they're high in sugar and low in fiber, and B, they're deep fried. So starting with reason number 1, if we actually compare a donut with one medium sweet potato, which is typically regarded as like a healthy complex carb, we are actually looking at arguably comparable amounts of sugar depending on the size of your sweet potato. And while sweet potato sugar is naturally occurring and bound up with fiber, which is really important for blood sugar regulation, sweet potatoes actually have a slightly higher glycemic load than a donut. Confusing. I know. But this is where the cooking method also comes into play because that cooking method can also drive up those AGEs. Now, because they're fried at a high heat, donuts actually have 7 times the amount of AGEs than a roasted sweet potato. So yeah, donuts are probably not the best food for our skin, especially because sweet potatoes also have lots of vitamin C and other antioxidants to help mediate that AGE burden. But honestly, I kind of hate these BuzzFeed style listicles and I find them really problematic because there are just so many nuanced factors at play and there are always going to be random outliers that really don't make a whole lot of sense. So for example, dried figs have almost twice the AGEs as a donut would have. So, eating food just becomes way more complicated than needs be. And I think that we need to look at the bigger picture when it comes to nutrition guidelines rather than, demonizing specific foods. But I'm gonna get to some more alternative, more simplified messages in a little bit. Let's see what else is on our list.
Number 2, white bread. White bread has almost no fiber, and it's a refined carbohydrate, can lead to quite an uptick in your blood sugar.
Again, when we reduce food down to kind of meal components or ingredient components, we kind of miss the bigger picture on our health. And sure, a high fiber, high protein bread is better for blood sugar regulation and is lower on the glycemic index, but we often do not eat bread in isolation. It's usually a vehicle for other things like veggies, meats, and spreads, which are all opportunities to add in extra fiber, protein, and healthy fats, aka the hunger crushing combo. Not to mention, even something like white Wonder Bread,
you gonna put on square Wonder Bread?
Contains about 2 grams of fiber and 6 grams of protein. I say if you honestly truly prefer white bread over whole grain, fine, go for it. But I say dress up those naked carbs and make them hunger crushing combos, as that alone will help to modulate the overall glycemic load.
Putting barbecue sauce on meat and cooking the meat in barbecue sauce at high heat is really amplifying the content of advanced glycation end products. Not to mention, barbecue sauce have a high amount of added sugar. The added sugar plus the high heat cooking of the meats further increases the overall age content of the meat.
First of all, I just gotta ask, how much barbecue sauce are we eating?
It's too much. Excuse me, it's too much.
Because if you need to coat your meat in sauce, you're probably not doing barbecue right. But anyways, she is correct that like a grilled barbecue steak will contain more AGEs than one that is stewed, for example, and that the caramelization of sugars via what we call the Maillard reaction does also seem to amplify this result. And while barbecue sauce is rich in sugar, it actually has a relatively low glycemic load when we consume it with foods as, we usually do. Throw in some antioxidant-rich veggies onto the grill as well, and your barbecue dinner doesn't look so dangerous after all. Now, if flavor is a concern, instead of using a ton of sauce, you can try adding a meat marinade before you cook. So research suggests that marinating your meat for 1 hour helps to reduce those AGEs by half, which is actually a tip that she gives as well later on in this video.
Any kind of mixed drink, cocktail. These are a double hitter because alcohol on its own is not very good for the health of your skin. It's very inflammatory. And then you have in the cocktail a lot of sugars. I specify sugary because I'm not actually sure about diet soda in this case.
Now, we already know that anything in excess, including alcohol and high sugar sodas, are not so great for the body in general, never mind just the skin. So limiting your alcohol intake to less than 10 drinks a week is what I would say good practice just for overall health. As for her mention of research linking booze to more visible signs of aging, I think it makes absolute sense that a toxin like alcohol might not be great for your skin. But I will just say that this study she mentions showed us just an association. And there are a lot of confounding variables here, like the fact that drinkers may be more likely to smoke, may have more stress in their lives, may be of lower socioeconomic status, etc. So it's really not as simple and alarming as, one glass of wine adds X number of years to your skin.
Packaged chips, cookies, and crackers. These have a pretty substantial amount of advanced glycation end products at baseline because of the way they are prepared, and oftentimes they have substantial added sugar.
Okay, so refined processed foods are generally higher on the glycemic index, but they're not all created equal. So for example, Doritos chips have significantly less AGEs than Sun chips. Why? I don't know, I'm not really sure. But what I'm saying is that information isn't very intuitive or readily available on a package. And I also want to flag that we don't even have a safe established level for AGE intake. I did find one study suggesting that 15,000 kilounits of AGEs daily would be considered a high AGE diet. So if we use that as a guide, consuming a classic packaged snack like 3 Oreos, aka 530 kilounits of AGEs, seems pretty benign. I don't think we need to be alarmist about it, and I actually don't think that she is either.
Hot dogs, pepperoni, and bacon. These are some of the worst meats that you can consume for the health of your skin. They are incredibly high in advanced glycation end products. If you eat a hot dog on white bread, you put barbecue sauce on it, that is a setup for not being so good for your skin.
So like I said before, we don't eat these foods in isolation. So even with foods considered the worst for AGE content like bacon and hot dogs and pepperoni, the dose makes the poison, as does the cooking method, what it's served with, and the rest of your diet. So for example, a strip of bacon has 10 times as many AGEs when fried versus when microwaved. And pairing your hot dog with some veggies, like she said, can also help to offset that AGE burden.
Eating a balanced diet that has foods from all food groups, healthy fats, avocado, monounsaturated fats, can help to minimize the spike in blood sugar. And fruits and vegetables are packed with antioxidants that are really beneficial to the integrity of your collagen and for reducing the burden of oxidative stress that comes from environmental exposures that damage your collagen.
Absolutely. This is why I always say I like to focus on what we can add to our meals rather than what we have to take away. So I really do appreciate that Dr. Dray is emphasizing how we can optimize high AGE foods without needing to completely eliminate them from the diet.
Then your eating order can help as well. Specifically, front-loading protein earlier in your eating, opposed to waking up first thing in the morning and eating a sugary donut. So if you're gonna have a donut in the morning, maybe have some protein beforehand or along with it to kind of help minimize that sugar spike.
So yeah, she is talking about the hunger crushing combo, about dressing up those naked carbs with a source of fiber, protein, and healthy fats, and I love that. So research does suggest that food order may in fact impact our blood sugar levels. So for example, one small study found that eating protein or veggies before carbs helped to lower post-meal blood sugar spikes in individuals with diabetes. Now, we don't have a whole lot of research on how that translates to healthy individuals, but I would say in general, we know that adding that protein in there can definitely help.
But consuming vinegar with a meal is another way to lessen the burden of advanced glycation end products that are formed in glycation.
Okay, so if Dr. Dray wants to send me some info on this, I would love to see it because I looked hard and I couldn't find any research explaining why having vinegar with your meal or your food would reduce AGE load. Only, of course, that marinating your meat before cooking could help. So I can see the connection there, but I don't have actual evidence suggesting that you need to take like a shot of vinegar.
An acid-based marinade, marinating your meat in either lemon juice or vinegar before cooking, can ultimately reduce the total amount of AGEs.
Yep, agreed. We already chatted about that.
Rather than broil, roast, fry, instead steam, boil, or poach or stew your meats. Incorporate spices into your cooking of these foods. Cinnamon, garlic, ginger, and cumin are all anti-glycation spices.
Totally. So one of the easiest ways to lower the formation of AGEs is to decrease the cook time and the temperature, as cooking with moist heat like poaching, steaming, and stewing more often can definitely help. So for example, poached chicken has less than 1/4 of the AGEs of roasted chicken. Now, again, I want to zoom out a bit because we're kind of obsessing over minute meat cookery details and also losing sight of the fact that our bodies naturally produce collagen in-house from the protein that we get from foods, including meat. So on the one hand, we may be ingesting AGEs by cooking our meat at high cooking temperatures. We're also getting some collagen promoting protein as well. And if we balance out the meal with vitamin C rich vegetables, antioxidants, and fiber, we can actually create a generally skin healthy meal, even in the presence of some AGEs. So I'm not disagreeing with her. I actually agree with her on most fronts here, if not all, but I'm just saying we kind of don't need to obsess over it.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay calm.
everyone?
Try incorporating green tea or white tea into your diet as a beverage. Green tea and white tea both have anti-glycation effects.
Studies have found that plant phenols found in certain spices and tea can help to lower the effects of AGEs, especially actually turmeric, which she didn't mention, thanks to its compound curcumin. Now, green tea also contains the antioxidant quercetin, which has been shown to help hinder AGE formation and is also found in other plant-based foods like grapes, apples, tomatoes, cherries, and bell peppers. So when we eat a really colorful diet, we're able to get a lot of these benefits without needing to be so obsessive about it.
If you eat a balanced diet, you're going to have many beneficial things coming in that overall help buffer some of the blood sugar spikes and glycation overall.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
It's all about how can we add some other nutritious foods in to help mitigate some of the effects of some of the more processed higher AGE foods. I want to just summarize this all up for you guys. I would say that the majority of Dr. Dray's recommendations aren't really novel or sensationalized, and they align really nicely with the dietary recommendations that we are already well aware of, like, eating in moderation, portion control, and eating a varied and balanced diet that prioritizes fruits and vegetables. So I love that. And if you're already doing these things, I really don't think there's any reason to freak out about having an occasional donut or hot dog. And as Dr. Dray actually says herself in this video, we're here to live, not just to follow rules. And I wholeheartedly agree. Now, one thing I didn't hear her explicitly mention is the benefit of adding more vitamin C rich foods to your meals, which can also help to hinder AGE formation, promote collagen production in the body, and provide antioxidants. Also, I really don't think you need to stress at all about the minutia of cookery when it comes to plant-based foods, because research suggests that levels of AGEs are even lower in things like fruits, vegetables, and whole grains after they've been cooked. So eat a variety and eat them however you like. If we want to make the info in this video, which I think is largely quite great by the way, but if we want to make it a little bit more accessible and practical and simple for the viewer, here's what I think you need to know. 1, focus on eating a variety of colorful fruits and vegetables and prioritize plant-based proteins over higher fat animal proteins more often. 2, if you do enjoy higher fat animal proteins, try to cook them low and slow using a wet cooking method if possible, and then pair them with lots of colorful produce. 3, enjoy sweet foods in moderation and pair them with a source of fiber, protein, and/or healthy fats, aka the hunger crushing combo. And 4, flavor foods with marinades, spices, and herbs, and try to rely a little less on sugary sauces or glazes. Folks, I think we gave a lot more information than necessary here about all of these scary AGE compounds, but all I think you really need to think about here is variety and, like Dr. Dray says herself, moderation. Focus on what we can add to reduce the AGE content of a meal and acknowledge that diet is really just one small piece of the puzzle when it comes to our skin. I think both Dr. Dray and I would both rather see everyone religiously wear sunscreen than swear off donuts and cocktails for life. And on that note, that is all that I have for you guys today. Thank you again to Built Bar for sponsoring this video. If you liked it, be sure to give it the thumbs up. Leave me a comment below on who you'd like to see me review next. Subscribe to the channel.